Attention passionate Atlanta, Falcons fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC South and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Atlanta Falcons' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Atlanta Falcons fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Atlanta, FALCONS. Let's get to the news. Now, folks, I want you to imagine a scenario that could dramatically alter the landscape of the NFC South in the upcoming season. It's not just speculation. It's a possibility that could reshape how the Atlanta Falcons approach their roster building and their aspirations for a deep playoff run. Recently, we've seen some buzz about Christian Kirk, the talented wide receiver currently with the Houston Texans, and how he might fit into the Falcons' plans, if, and here's the big if, they decide to make a move for him. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wait, is Kirk already traded to the Texans? And yes, technically, he was traded there, but this is where things get interesting. Rumors and expert predictions suggest that the Falcons should seriously consider making a move for Kirk, and I want to walk you through why this could be a game changer for Atlanta. First, let's set the stage. Christian Kirk, as most of you know, is a dynamic receiver who's shown flashes of brilliance, especially in the slot. Last season, he played 12 games and amassed 787 yards. And the previous year, in 2022, he really broke out with over 100 yards, proving he can be a true weapon when healthy. But what's crucial here is his role. Kirk is almost exclusively a slot receiver, and that makes him perfect for Atlanta's current offensive setup. The Falcons, after all, already have Drake London and Darnell Mooney, who are solid outside options, but they've been lacking that reliable, explosive slot presence. Ray McCloud, who's been trying to fill that role, just doesn't have the same explosiveness or consistency. McCloud has only surpassed 300 yards once in his NFL career, and considering he only broke out at age 28, it's clear they need a different solution. That's where Kirk comes in. Now I want to pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Atlanta Falcons news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. Because folks, if the Falcons can bring in Christian Kirk, it would instantly elevate their passing game. Kirk is a player who excels in the slot, running routes with precision and creating separation against even the toughest defenders. In 2024, he ran over 80% of his routes from the slot, according to PFF, making him almost a perfect fit for what the Falcons need. And with quarterback Michael Penix Jr., who showed flashes of brilliance last year and is expected to be a key piece for Atlanta's future success, adding a receiver like Kirk would give him a true weapon, someone who can make tough catches, stretch the field, and help turn third-and-long situations into easy conversions. But why would the Texans be willing to trade Kirk now, especially after acquiring him for what looks like a bargain, just a 7th-round pick? Well, that's another part of the equation. The Texans recently drafted Nico Collins, Jaden Higgins, and Jalen Noel, and they also have John Mechie and Tank Dell. That's a pretty stacked wide receiver room, especially for a team that's still trying to rebuild its defense and overall roster. Kirk, despite his talent, might not fit into their long-term plans anymore. And considering they acquired him before the draft, it's clear they didn't see him as a core piece. Instead, it seems like Kirk's future with the Texans was more of a backup plan, a low-cost option that they could flip for a draft pick if needed. Trading him now, especially for a 7th-rounder, makes perfect sense. They get a cheap asset, and they can focus on their young core of receivers and draft picks. Conversely, for the Falcons, this is an opportunity knocking. They traded up in the draft to select James Pierce Jr., which showed how serious they are about bolstering their defense and maintaining a competitive roster. But with that move, they sacrificed some draft capital, especially in the later rounds. That's where they could really use an infusion of proven NFL talent, someone who can step in immediately and produce. Christian Kirk fits that bill perfectly. His experience, route-running ability, and knack for making plays in clutch situations would fill a critical gap in Atlanta's offense. And it's not just about filling a need, it's about elevating the entire offense. Having a reliable slot receiver who can get open against tight coverage would open up more options for quarterback Desmond Ridder, giving him an easy outlet and helping him develop further. Let's take a moment and look at how Kirk's presence could impact the Falcons' overall offensive strategy. With Drake London stretching the field outside and Darnell Mooney providing speed and separation, Kirk in the slot would be like the glue that holds everything together. He's a player who can create yards after the catch, turn short routes into big gains, and provide that safety valve that every young quarterback needs. Plus, his chemistry with a talented quarterback like Penix Jr., who's still developing but has shown immense potential, could be a match made in heaven. Imagine Kirk running crisp routes, catching passes in traffic, and helping move the chains consistently. That kind of upgrade could be the difference between a good season and a playoff push. Speaking of playoffs, the Falcons are right on the cusp. FanDuel currently has them with odds of -184 to make the playoffs in 2025. That's a solid indicator they're viewed as a competitive team, but they need that extra spark. Adding Christian Kirk would give them that boost, an established playmaker who can step into the lineup and immediately contribute. And while the odds might not reflect a 1-0-yard season for Kirk next year, if he can replicate his 2022 performance, over 100 yards, that alone would be a huge boost for the Falcons' offense. It would give them another reliable target, especially in crucial moments, and help ease some of the pressure on London and Mooney. Now, let's talk about the logistics. The Falcons could potentially trade their 7th-round pick next year to acquire Kirk, making this a low-risk, high-reward move. It's the kind of strategic move that could pay off big time, especially considering the Falcons' current roster needs and their desire to maximize their offensive talent. The coaching staff, led by Arthur Smith, has been known for innovative offensive schemes, and adding a player like Kirk would only give them more flexibility and options. It would also send a message to the division: hey, we're serious about competing, and we're willing to make bold moves to get there. And I know some of you might be wondering about Kirk's health, his durability, and whether he can stay consistent. Well, the last time we saw him fully healthy, in 2022, he was a 100-yard receiver. That's not just good, that's elite production. If he can stay healthy and replicate that performance with Penix Jr., the Falcons' offense could become one of the most dangerous in the NFC South. And considering how tight the division is, every game counts. Having that extra weapon could be the difference maker in clinching a playoff spot or even contending for the division title. Of course, nothing is set in stone yet, and it's all speculation at this point. But if the Falcons do decide to pursue Christian Kirk, it would be a shrewd move, one that aligns perfectly with their current roster and their ambitions. They need a reliable slot receiver, a proven playmaker who can step in right away and make an impact. Kirk's route running, ability to make contested catches, and experience in the league make him an ideal candidate. Plus, the low cost, just a 7th-round pick, makes it even more appealing. This could be a move that not only improves their chances in 2025, but also signals to the rest of the division that Atlanta is serious about competing at the highest level. So, Falcons fans, I want you to think about this. Imagine Christian Kirk lining up in the slot, catching passes from Penix Jr., and helping propel the Falcons to a new level of offensive efficiency. It's a move that makes sense, fits their needs, and could be the missing piece they've been looking for. And remember, the NFL offseason is full of surprises, and the Falcons are always looking to make strategic moves to improve their roster. Whether this trade happens or not, one thing is for sure: the NFC South just got a lot more interesting, and Atlanta's path to another Super Bowl run could be closer than we think. And now, Atlanta Falcons fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this potential move? Do you think Christian Kirk would be the perfect fit for our offense? Would he be the spark that pushes us into serious playoff contention? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Falcons. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Atlanta Falcons news. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay passionate and stay Falcons strong.